Hey, this is Dean. So I wanted to share with you my way of getting the polarizer off of Game Boy Pocket screens in order to do a backlight. So the traditional way you would do it is you would flip it over and you would start peeling off this polarizer back here. And you try not to break this cable, which as you can see, you don't have a lot of room and it's pretty easy to break. Also, as you're doing it, as you see right here, it's starting to lift here. So you risk breaking this cable as well as this cable. You break either one of those and obviously it's not going to work. So this screen's from a Game Boy Light, but it is it's the same screen, just the polarizer is different. It's kind of like a clear, if you can see it, clear polarizer, and it is stuck super well. So I'm not actually going to take it off, but I'll show you the steps to getting it off. So what you need for this method, you need a soldering iron. I use a really fine tip soldering iron. You're going to need a metal spudger, not plastic, and some flux. So the first thing I do is I put a little bit of flux right here. All right. So then the next thing I do is I get my metal spudger. And as you can see, there's like two layers. You have a back layer and then this top layer. So what I do is I stick it right here. You don't want to apply any pressure. You just want to put it right there by that first pin. So what I do is I put my finger on here like this. And then as I'm desoldering, I kind of pull up with my thumb back here and just kind of lift the screen. But you don't want to put a lot of pressure. This is like real light. Okay, so then what you do is you get your soldering iron and just kind of go over all the contacts first, just to get the solder to flow. All right, then you just slowly pull up, and like I said, you just push down a little bit with your pointer finger. And what should happen is the pins should just kind of start letting loose. And voila, it's off. So from here, the first thing I like to do is I put just a little bit more flux on here. And then I just go over all the contacts and make sure there's solder on them. So if any of them look dry, I'll add just a little bit more. So I'll show you one of them's just a little bit dry. So I just pretty much tin the tip, because you don't want to add a lot of solder. If you do, you're going to start bridging connections. So just run outwards. Okay, and now all those connections look really nice. So from here, what you would do is, so like I said, this screen has like super adhesive, but normally you get an X-Acto knife or a razor blade in this corner and then just pull it, and you should be able to just pull it straight off. This one is like crazy glued on. So, okay, so what you do after you get that off, it's real easy to clean now too, because you have a straight sight of the screen, so you can clean it all off, get all the glue off, like 100% of the glue off, because if you don't get all the glue off, it's going to show on the backlight. Okay, so the next thing you do when you're ready is you flip it over, and what you'll notice is that there's two holes. So there's a hole here and there's a hole here. So what you want to do is you want to line the holes, because there's holes on the back as well. Once you line them up, this is kind of hard to do on the camera, but I put my spudger right here. Sorry for blocking the camera. I put my spudger right here, and I just put a little bit of pressure. Gotta make sure it's lined up. Okay, so that is lined up. Then I'm gonna just put a little bit on these ends. This is just to make sure that it is lined up. Let it set. Then I'm going to take a look at it. What you do is you can put it up to a light, and as you can see all the pins. So those are all lined up. If they weren't lined up, you'd be able to see, you know, duplicate pins, or they just wouldn't be straight. So from here, I get my spudger again, just to make sure there's like some nice pressure on it. It's down straight. And then you just go over each one. make sure you go over every pin. So this edge right here is going to kind of curl up right here. So then what I do is I get my spudger again. I just put a little bit of pressure over here. And just make sure all of them have some solder on it. Just go over every pin once again. Just go outwards. Okay, and that is it. What I do is I hold it up to the light once again. See, I have a light source right here. And I just make sure that none of the pins are bridged and that, yeah, all the pins are soldered. So from there, you just stick it in your Game Boy Pocket like normal, put your backlight, and that's it, you're done. So this, to me, is the easiest method. As you can tell, it took me about 5 minutes to get that done. Obviously, the cleaning is gonna, you should spend as much time as possible on the cleaning. So all in all, you can have this mod done in 15, 20 minutes tops. And you don't risk breaking the cables, the ribbon cables, like you do on a normal one. So yeah, I hope you like this method. I hope you try it out. The best thing to do is get an old screen like this one. This is a broken screen anyway. And just practice on it. So this is like my practice screen. When I wanted to try out this technique, this is the screen I tried it on. So I've also done the same thing on the DMG. The little ribbon cable on the DMG is a little bit more delicate than this one. This one seems like it can take a lot more on and off. Although I wouldn't, do it multiple times. But yeah, I hope that helps anybody that's wanting to do this mod that has, some knowledge of soldering. So if you already have a soldering iron, this just makes it life a lot easier, a lot quicker. So, all right, if you like the video, please, like it. And if you have any questions, please comment below and let me know what you want to ask. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye.